Howdy everybody, and welcome to the Mega Man tutorial. I just brushed my teeth, so if you want the full virtual reality experience, you just need to set your virtual reality goggle olfactory unit to spray your nose with a scent of fresh peppermint, or, just enjoy peppermint mint as well. That way you can feel like I'm talking directly to you. Anyways, last time we set up the introduction object and our intro room. So make sure you remember to put the intro object into the intro room onto the instance layer. And once the introduction is over, the object title will pop up. And we will be filling out the title object today. So let's get cracking. With the title object over here, let me pull it up in my project. There we go. We're actually going to, this is another one of those objects that we're going to be using a lot of the code in a lot of other things later on, because we have a choice option here that we will be using in basically everything that requires a choice later on. So this will be fairly useful. We want a selection variable equal to 0, options underscore is equal to either normal or difficult, and interval underscore timer is equal to 0. Interval underscore speed underscore is equal to 32. Sound underscore is equal to no 1. And draw underscore caret underscore is equal to true. So what are these all going to do? There's a little caret that shows what your selection is. So that caret blinks. And it blinks according to the interval timer and the interval speed. Sound is the sound that is made when the caret jumps between selections, and of course options are our different selections. We're also going to want to draw. Well, we'll move this over to the draw event here in a second here too. So let's go over to the draw event. And we want to remember to draw ourselves, because we are the title. Then draw underscore text, bbox underscore left plus 16, bbox underscore bottom plus 64, press start. And draw underscore set underscore our H align and V align. We want left and top. And we want to draw our options according to how many options there are. All right, there we go. So this will draw every single one of our options at the bbox left plus 32 and bbox bottom plus 16 plus 16 times I. So that'll give us a spacing of I between each one of our options. And draw the caret. condense this to a single line of code here. If interval, so interval is a script that we have over here, very easy to use, return true 50% of the desired time span. So we just have interval and timer, and when my timer mod interval is less than or equal to underscore interval divided by 2, return true. Because return works with a comparison, so we're comparing to see if this is less than or equal to this, and if it is, then it will return true, and so on. If interval speed and interval timer, and draw caret, so we want to make sure that we're actually want to draw the caret at that point, because we will turn that off and on according to our needs. Then just draw the sprite selection caret, which is this little guy here. I drew him myself, so bask in awe. So we draw subimage 0 because there's only one frame. B-box left plus 16, B-box bottom plus 16 again. It's basically this here combined with this here. And selection times 16, which is again just like this here, except for instead of using I for our times 16, we use selection value. So that should be working almost. We need to put in a step event though, because we want to be able to change our selection. First things first, we want to loop our title music. So if our title music isn't playing and we are currently drawing the caret, then set my caret to draw caret to false, and with the title object audio stop all, restart equals true, and sprite index is equal to sprite underscore megaman underscore transforming. So what we're doing here is we are, this is with object player title. So what happens is, so the intro plays, the building scrolls up to the top, and Mega Man's standing there, and eventually the title music runs out. So what do we want to do next? Now, once the title music is run out, we need to stop drawing the caret, and then we basically tell our player, our stand-in cutout for Mega Man, to stop the audio music all. We can do that wherever. We just wanted to restart the game, so we set it to the Transformers sprite because Mega Man then teleports out, and if we set restart to true, then instead of going to the main menu, it will restart the introduction animation. For now, we can ignore the object player title. The other main thing we want to do is handle our options. So if we're drawing the caret, as we turn off drawing the caret when we loop back, so we want to make sure that we only do this when we aren't looping back, because we don't want to try to interrupt the middle of our transition back. If object underscore input dot up underscore pressed underscore, then do something. If object underscore input dot down underscore press, then do something else. Otherwise, increase my interval timer. And of course, object underscore input dot start underscore pressed. Then finally do something else. this will be the what we do to choose our selection. So what are we going to do here? We want to increase our selection, or actually decrease. So what are we doing here? We are using minus selection. Why the minus here instead of minus there? Because a minus here makes it happen before you actually do the you send the value over to wrap. So it will decrement the selection variable. So if it's at 0, it'll make it -1. Then it will run the wrap script with that -1 value. If the minus was afterwards, then it would run wrap, do its wrapping stuff, and then it would decrement afterwards. So your 0 would then become -1 anyways, because wrap wouldn't take effect. Or it would, but it just wouldn't until after you it would do it before you decrement. So anyways, what is wrap, you say? Wrap is another fairly simple script. Returns the value wrapped. If it is above or below the threshold, it will wrap around. So we just do some error correcting there to make sure that our values are actually min and maxed. Create a value, then return it based on this mathematical formula here. Interval underscore timer underscore is equal to 0, because we want to be able to set it back to 0 so that it will, the caret will disappear or reappear depending on what you want, and it'll start over from the counter will start over from 0 at that point. And if one more thing here, we want to check our sound. Okay, this is a very important function. Get used to it. Audio underscore sound underscore get track position is very useful if you want to be able to have like a sound that plays partially, and then you can then override it and play again, and that's how you get a more smooth, natural sound out of them the little bleep as you. Let me pull it up over here over in the sounds. We have our effects, sound caret. So yeah, instead of having to wait for the entire 0.16 seconds, you can then start it right there somewhere instead. This value here is milliseconds. It also gives me the ability to limit how fast you can change your selection based on the audio's position as well, which is very useful. Also, we put in a little thing here that checks, if there isn't any sound yet, then we don't then do this instead of just only based on when it's over a certain position. So yeah, when we change it, it will stop the currently playing sound. And sound underscore is equal to audio underscore play underscore sound underscore ext. Sound caret 1, false, no 1, and 2. Makes it sound much higher pitch. And we copy all this over to the down, except now with plus plus. Yep, and that should be everything in there. So last but not least, we also need to set draw underscore caret underscore equal to false when we press start. Global dot difficulty. Pull up in your macros script. Let me make sure about that. Nope, I forgot to add it into my macro script. So global dot difficulty is equal to 0, I think. What? Yeah. Oh, difficult. The reason why we do it as difficult is because we're going to be using a Boolean rather than a 0 or 1. Difficult is equal to selection underscore equal to 1 colon true colon false. So if selection is equal to 1, then set difficult equal to true. Otherwise, set it equal to false. Because selection 1 is difficult. As far as it goes, we don't actually use the difficulty setting in this tutorial, but if you were to use it in in your game, then all you would do is basically when a monster or something spawns, you would check to see if the difficulty is set to difficult, and if it is, then give it more health when it spawns or something like that. And back to object underscore player underscore title. We go this code here, except we do not restart. All right. So now that we have all that in there, we need a player object for the title. So let's get that into there. Come back over to our room objects here. And create a new object. Object player title. Going to give him a sprite. Mega Man helmetless, Mega Man transforming. We'll go with helmetless. Activate underscore is equal to false. Sound underscore is equal to no one again, and restart underscore is equal to false. Gonna add in a step event. If activate, so we activate it right here. Where do we activate it? Oh wait, that's right. We activate it in the animation end event. So over here we set its animation to Mega Man transforming. And we'll actually check for a animation end event as well. So come over to other and animation end. And if sprite underscore index is equal to sprite underscore mega under man underscore teleporting. There we go. So if we've set our animation to, if we've set our sprite to the teleporting animation, then when the teleporting animation is over, set my image speed to 0, my image index to 0, turn on the activation, and make sure that we play the teleporting sound. And that'll be more sense once we actually get a look at it. And if sprite underscore index is equal to sprite underscore mega command underscore transforming. So this is when he puts on his helmet. All right, there we go. So if we are transforming, so we're putting on our helmet, then once we put on a helmet, then make us teleport. When we finish teleporting, then set my speed to 0, image index equal to 0. Oh yeah, this is the reason why this will make more sense is because we're actually going to run this animation backwards when we set our sprite to teleporting, because we go from this to this. And we want to set image speed equal to 0 once we reach the final frame. That way we can move this teleportation bar out of the top of the screen, which we'll do over here in the step event. If activate, then y minus equal 8. Easy movement. If not, restart. Else. So if we aren't restarting, then we want to move over to the next room. But not until we finish playing the teleport sound. And yeah, I can do that on a single line instead. There we go. So if we are restarting, then just send us right back to the beginning of the room. And that should be everything we need to get this working. So come back over to our room here, and make sure we've selected our instance layer. And we're going to need to bring in our title object player here. Let me make sure on the other project. Make that 16 by 16 and move them over here. Actually, just move them arbitrarily to right there. All right, let's take a look at how it looks. And plays and sounds. Alright, good. And we exploded. Because I forgot to put in restart. Step line 6. There we go. All right, should be working now. That gets us to the next room. All right, we'll put in that next room, and we'll also put in our what is it? Mode select screen on the next tutorial. So thank you everybody for joining me, and it looks like it's time for me to remember to thank our Patreons. All right, thank you everybody who decided to Patreon this. We have Fragile Hearts, Crew Patreon, Damien Still, and Kenneth Klein. Thank you so much for your donations. They are great, and they are helping to produce great content. So thank you very much everybody for watching, and remember to enjoy your coding. And well, I'm completely messing up my exit line here, so just good luck with your programming. There we go. See you later.